This week, Dan Campbell has given a couple of good reasons as to why the Lions didn't bring in Za'Darius Smith or why they didn't try to make any trades for some of these big edge rushers. Let's talk about those reasons. Hi, it's Mike Payton from A to Z Sports Detroit. Today we're going to talk about Dan Campbell and his couple of reasons why they didn't bring back Za'Darius Smith and why the Lions didn't try to get involved in any of these trades. First off, let's start with Smith. On Wednesday morning, Dan Campbell was on 97.1 The Ticket, and he talked to Costa and Jansen about why Smith hasn't come back, and his reasoning was pretty simple. They feel that they're really good where they're at right now with the guys that they have. They feel like they don't need Za'Darius Smith, and that's kind of been, the thing that we've kind of thought all along. Obviously, Lions fans feel differently because they look at Marcus Davenport as somebody who could be hurt any day, and that makes sense. He has a lengthy injury history, and then there's Al-Quadin Muhammad behind him, who's not exactly the best edge rusher in the world, really good run stuffer, can set the edge, can kind of do some pass rushing type things, but more of a run stuffer for sure. And then there's just really not much depth other than that. Josh Paschal, we don't know when that's going to happen, when he's going to come back, but that'll be big when they get him. But right now the Lions just feel like they're good enough without Smith. And we'll see what happens week one. Maybe after week one, they think differently. Maybe after week one, they feel they're even more set than they thought they were. So that's one thing to pay attention to. The other thing is that Dan Campbell mentioned on Tuesday, when the Lions want to bring in guys, they want guys that are going to fit the checklist, because checking off the fact that they're good is just the easiest part that you could do. Is this player good? Of course he is. That's why you'd want him. But there has to be more. Does he fit the culture? Can you check that box? Does he fit the scheme? Does he check that box? Do you have to keep the scheme the way that it is? Or if you're bringing him in mid-season, how does he fit? Does he not fit? I mean, is he just a guy? Is he just a player whose name that we know at this point? If he doesn't fit the scheme and he doesn't fit the culture, you can't do it. The other thing is, do you have the money to do it? Can you go out and get a guy like Trey Hendrickson or Micah Parsons, Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, any of the names that have been brought up over the last few years, if you don't have the money to then sign those guys to top of the market deals while also getting Aiden Hutchinson his big deal, which he definitely still should get, and then Jameson Williams and Brian Branch, and Jahmyr Gibbs and Sam Laporta and Jack Hamill and all these guys, they got to get paid too. Terrion Arnold, he's another one. Can you do all of that and bring this guy in at the same time? If you can't check that box, I don't see how you could do it. The other thing is, are you willing to give something away? Are you willing to give away the 2 first-round picks and a solid player to the Cowboys to get Micah Parsons? That solid player, I mean, you have to believe that's probably Brian Branch, right? That's probably Jack Campbell. That's probably somebody that the Lions see as a major part of their defense and a major part of their future. Are you willing to give that up? The other thing, the final one, is it worth it? I mean, that's really the one. Is it worth it? You're putting your entire job on the line to make this trade. That's what people don't really think about. Brian Guntchrist, I'm sorry, I don't know how to say his name, over the Green Bay Packers GM. He's putting exactly his entire job on the line for this, because if it works and the Packers win a Super Bowl, well, then he looks like a genius because he made that move. If it doesn't work, then this is the reason why it didn't work. It's because he gave everything away to make this trade. And fans will turn on you immediately when stuff like that happens. And if you're watching this video and you feel like you wouldn't do that, I think you're lying. I mean, I know I would do it. I'm a human being, just like you are. Like, it's really easy to see something as great at the beginning and then see when it doesn't work. You could see how that was the problem. And I think that is something that all GMs have to take into account when they're doing that. If the Lions can't check each one of those boxes, they're not going to want to make a deal. And that means not trading for guys, not bringing back Za'Darius Smith, anything. If they feel like they can't check all those boxes, they're just not going to do it. So that's just something to keep in mind for the rest of the season during the trade deadline. If you can't check the boxes at home, that probably means they can't check the boxes in Allen Park or at Ford Field. We'll see what happens this week, and we'll go from there.